Rapower.
Rapower. Rapower.
Nigeria's original independent radio station.
Young professionals should move beyond the comfort of their businesses and take ownership of this country.
They have always had this mindset that their vote does not count.
Are we truly ready?
I feel I can make it.
The political terrain is harsh.
I am determined to give it a try.
I am not discouraged.
I am not deflated.
We the 77, we can make it. The future belongs to us.
We the 77, 5:05 p.m.
Every Monday on Rapower FM.
All right, it's We the 77. Okay, you just had the promo. Good evening, Lagos. Glad to be here this lovely Monday evening. It's actually Valentine's Day. 8 minutes past 5, that's the time check from here. You're listening to Rapower FM. The Prince is here. I'm not sure it's still okay to say it's pretty strange to have me here at this time, but of course, you know, I'm hardly here at about this time. But we started off something really brand new last week, and of course, we made the promise that we'll be back here today, and here we are. It is that program for the youth. Now, welcome on board to this brand new one. It's still easy to call it a new one because it's the second episode, courtesy your darling station, Rapower FM. Now, guess what? It's a program that seeks to give the young people, you know, a voice, sort of creating, a convergence point where we meet and discuss issues as it affects us. It's We the 77. That's what this is called. All right. Now, I mean, we've gone into all those details over and over and over again. The idea of the 77 is the fact that 77% of Nigerians are young people. And as such, we need to probably do more and stake a claim for ourselves as far as this country is concerned, getting more involved in things that are happening. And of course, being there and having, the chance to converse and let our voices be heard. Last week on the show, we looked at something I find very interesting. It was youth and leadership. And today we're progressing that conversation. If we must take on positions of leadership, then it's important that we have the right attitude. So today it's youth and attitudinal change. But in the meantime, it's Valentine's Day. I said I'm the Prince and I'm not working alone. I have my, do I call them tag team partners here? And it's, maybe we just begin from the whole Valentine's Day theme. I know what both of you kind of feel about it because I think I heard you both earlier in the day, but nonetheless, we just kick off there. Precious is here, Samson is here. How are you guys doing?
Hi, we're good.
Very good. Good to be on the program again.
Now you're sounding like somebody, that's Samson. Now you're sounding like someone who Valentine's been fine. Did you do some, did you, I'm not going to ask you that, because what's up? What's with the whole Valentine thing?
Okay, last year I was in a big celebratory mood, celebrating Valentine. But today is another story, so...
wait, why you seem to be coming up with a heartbreak story right here.
Yeah, like I'm experiencing being single and enjoying life being single. So by this time,
this sounds like a very familiar line of somebody who's been heartbroken.
Trying to console yourself.
No. I know what came out of my pockets last year, and this year I was able to save.
You're happy that that's
yeah, with the fact that we are just coming out of the top January, so I'm happy that my pockets is.
So it's not all doom and gloom. The fact that there's no Val around, right?
Yes, and again, I get to celebrate love with the people around me, my colleagues at work and everything.
Now, wow, you seem to be so at home with this heartbreak thing. See how you have embodied. Heartbreak is just screaming in all the lines you're saying. Precious.
Yes.
Are you the one breaking the hearts, or they've broken your own heart, or you are enjoying the Valentine thing? You have it going for you.
For a single Pringle like me.
Everybody, why
like
is everybody
us,
always
like
wait? Everybody you meet is single, but everybody on social media has one boo somewhere. So who are they who are they booing with?
I have no idea.
That's a question for ladies.
What's that yours? You say you're a single Pringle. What's that about?
Because Nigerian men.
What's Nigerian men?
I can't do. Relationship is not for the weak.
Go to Benin now. Go and meet Benin men now.
Yeah.
Or you go to Togo. Or you climb up and go to Niger.
There's Ghana.
If Nigerian men tire you, go to our neighbors now.
I should even try the old 36 states. Men from the old 36 states.
I tire before you just said Nigerian men.
So probably you did.
But you just said Nigerian men.
You said Nigerian men. You generalized it.
They did not break my heart. They blended the heart.
They did what?
They blended my heart. They didn't break it.
Okay. I have heard the whole heartbreak theme in different ways, but I've never heard that the heart has been blended. I feel for you. Hopefully we'll have the time to talk about this again before we wrap up. But let's get into what we're talking about today. By the way, Toyosi, you are looking very good. I like your gown. It doesn't have the Valentine color, but is there a dinner happening somewhere?
No.
Is your heart also blended?
Yes.
No.
Blended too?
No, in the morning stroke afternoon. Yes,
wait, Samson.
Yeah.
This lady says that, these ladies, both of them say their hearts have been blended.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has to be a man who was responsible for that blending. You are also here accusing a woman of last year breaking your heart.
Blended. Okay.
Wait. So what's going on with you three? The man says the women have broken his heart. The women say the men have broken. So who do we hold responsible for all this blending and grinding?
Samson did something wrong because it's only the men.
It's only the men that do something wrong.
Yes. Samson must have done something wrong.
Precious, I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with this conversation, and I hope that today you actually take and embrace attitudinal change, because that's what we want to talk about. What you just said now is all shades of wrong. But let's leave it for now. All right, so if you just joined us, it's with us 7 to 7, and that's how it goes. We make it really, really easy and, freestyle. You can also join the conversation as we go along. But we're going to get into some maybe serious business now. Like I said, it's youth and attitudinal change, and today we're focusing on a trend that is pretty disturbing. Now, this whole talk about ritual killings, it's been there for a while. It's been there since ages. But it seems to have taken on another level of popularity these days. And of course, here on Rapower, we've had several conversations on this subject matter. But today, we're narrowing in on a very interesting subplot in all of this. The impact of Nollywood on the trend. Or let's just say, we want to look at how Nollywood has or hasn't contributed to this problem. Now, very recently, we've had people apprehended for various crimes, and during their interrogations, you heard things like, they're confessing to learning the trade from the things that they see in movies. There was one just last month. There was a case of a kidnapped suspect, Ayodele or so, who was he was nabbed in Ogun State and was arrested for abducting a 6-year-old boy. Now, he confessed that he learned his act of kidnapping by watching. In fact, in this time around, he even mentioned the name of the actor. He said he learned the trade by watching Zubi Michael's movies. Now, according to him, because the actor was quite good at playing kidnapping roles. Now, that part of his confession that really struck me was the most, where he apologized and said, I am not a cultist, I am not an armed robber, I do not have a gang, I just trained myself by watching Zubi Michel's movies. My parents trained me very well, I was just impatient and greedy. Now, when somebody makes such a confession, I'm not, I'm quoting him now, and I'm coming to you both. I'm not a cultist, I'm not an armed robber, I don't have a gang, I simply trained myself by watching Zubi Mikel and his movies. What do you make of this confession of an alleged criminal, saying that they learned by just watching Nollywood?
I think that is outright rubbish, because
rubbish?
Yes. How do you say you learned how to kidnap from movies? Even watching those movies, you see that they are not real. Like my mom would say, all those ones are film trick.
But people will tell you movies are, some sort of reality or a picture of life.
Yeah, really. But the reality I'm talking about is how they act out this kidnapping stuff. There's nothing you learn from them that you use for real life kidnapping.
Oh, you think so?
Yes. I watch some of their movies.
That's not true. Like kidnapping scenes in movies, some are they act some that are so real that you can actually practice this outside. I don't know. Like growing up.
Maybe we should zoom out a little bit now. Yeah. Not just kidnapping. Are you saying, Precious? Now going by that your comment, but I'm putting a question to you, Samson, that you cannot watch a movie and learn how stuff is done by what you see in the movies.
You can actually watch and learn and then practicalize.
Learn some things, not kidnapping.
Yeah.
Because in Nigerian movies we show a car park in front of you and then just get down. Then they shoot your driver. It's not in real life. That's not how it happens.
There are different scenarios. There are different possible scenarios.
You have to act it according to how
he's saying he learned from Zubi Mikel movies.
I'm saying Zubi Michael like that. You should know that Zubi Michael movies played an influence.
Maybe you're coming up with the whole pack, but I'd like to believe that. We don't get to see that every day on the streets, but I also think that it's not out of place to say you can learn something from a movie.
Yeah, you can pick, improvise, then edit it to your own pattern.
Have we not seen in movies where a young child is given a bait, maybe a sweet or something, and said, "Oh, you just see a young child, and then you lure the child, and the next thing the child is kidnapped."
Yes, but real life children are smarter than that.
Oh, you think?
Okay, I know.
Growing up, when we used to see this Jack Chan movie, Van Damme movie, like I know how I used to practicalize that on my friends. You get that's a really life situation. Like on the playground, I play Jack Chan role. My friend plays a different role from movies. So I think it's quite possible. I don't know. You must have.
Okay, Toyosi, you wanted to say something. I think in support of Precious.
Yes. What I wanted to say is that I watch movies and I say a lot, but the end will matter if I would want to do what I just watched.
Okay.
So me.
But are you saying? I'm going with that question of is it possible to see something in a movie and practice it in reality?
Yes, it is.
I think that nails it.
Yes.
Well, what kind of movies? If Precious seems to be alone now, Precious is alone now. So we're going to go with the assumption that it is possible that you see something in movies and you want to try it out, or you see something, whether you like it or not, what we see in movies, they sow a seed, we're believing some of them, whether consciously or subconsciously, they're sowing seeds, and then somehow these things play on our minds. And that's why it's important that we, watch the kind of movies that we watch. I think that's, watch the kind of movies you watch. Pay attention to the kind of movies that you watch. So if we're going to take it to the street from there, with a question, what kind of movies should we be watching? What kind of movies should we as young people be paying attention to? Let's get on the street and hear what Nigerian youth have to say about the kind of movies that we should be watching.
I watch Nollywood movies. The movies I watched last teaches me about honesty and courage. And after I watch the movies, I sit down and think about my life. I look at some area which I need courage and honesty. So I took the role.
I watch Yoruba movie. Even though Yoruba movie is one of the best that used to give someone experience, because they will tell you what is going to happen at the end of the day.
I watch Hollywood. All they teach is about crime. Maybe someone doing ritual and at the end of the day, person got caught. Doing all this Yahoo plus ritual. That's the way their movie is now. It teaches about crime. It encourages young ones and it impacts in our lives. It teaches me how to spend money, not to spend money lavishly, not to be extravagant. It teaches me to abstain from courtesy, premarital sex. I do watch Mozambique movies, and those Mozambique movies, especially from Prem Production, like Femi Adebile, like their films are always touching and impacting, and it's not to give up on God when we are in trials and situations.
Okay, what do you make of the submission of the youth? Some say, the movies, they're impacting, we get to learn lessons. Another saying, oh, you know what, once I watch the beginning of a Nollywood film, I know the end, I'm not even attracted and all that.
Yeah, equating that with this topic, I think most movies has the better part of it, like the lesson part of the movie. And so I think most people don't actually see a movie to the end again. They just pick from the beginning and then, most especially Yoruba Nollywood. So I already know where this is going, and I already know how it's going to end. So I think I do that too. Once I pick a movie, check for like probably 30 minutes. Okay, I know where this is going to end. I'm no longer interested. So that can also, within that 30 minutes, I can pick lessons whatever I want to pick. If I want to pick the bad part of the movie and try to act it out in the real life, that is left to me.
Okay, so staying with this negative impact or negative influence of movies on us, is this a problem of regulation? Should we ordinarily have someone who should be saying, oh no, you don't have to do this kind of movies. This is kind of movies that you can do?
Well, it would interest you to know that this development has gotten the attention of the House of Reps. A member of the House of Representatives, Toby Okechukwu, had something to say about it.
I represent an area of Woji River Federal Constituency from Enugu State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is a matter of urgent public importance on the need to curb the rising trend of ritual killings in Nigeria. The House notes that the incidents of ritual killings have assumed an alarming rate in Nigeria in recent times. The House also notes the upsurge of reported ritual killings with increasing cases of abductions and missing persons in different parts of the country, which in most cases, the culprits also rape, maim, kill, and obtain sensitive body parts of unsuspecting victims for rituals. The House further notes that the Red Cross Society in 2017 reported that it received 10,480 reports of missing persons in Nigeria. The House is further aware of several reports where law enforcement agents arrested and paraded suspects of ritual killings with gory pictures of human skulls and dismembered bodies. The ugly trend of ritual killing is on the rise as the quest for wealth at all costs pervades our society. While youths in other times are embracing science and technology as a way of maintaining peace with a dynamic world, some of our youths seem stuck in the mistaken belief that sacrificing human blood is the surest route to wealth, safety, and protection. The House is mindful of the role of the Nigerian movie industry in molding behavior patterns in our society, preserving the mandate of the National Film and Video Censors Board as a clearinghouse for movies produced in our country. A lot needs to be done by the police and other law enforcement agencies to checkmate the ugly trend. The House calls on the Executive Director, National Film and Video Censors Board, to rise to the mandate of the agency as the clearinghouse for all movies produced in our country and mandate the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics, Values to report back to the House within 4 weeks.
Okay,
that was the voice of
Toby Okechukwu, member of the House of Representatives, and he's saying that truly the Nollywood industry has a lot to do with the high rates of ritual killing in our society today, and he's calling on the agencies in charge to help fix it and put the right rules in place.
But talking about putting the right, I asked the question earlier: is the industry an industry that we can regulate?
Yeah, sure, of course.
In terms of the stories or the kind of stories that we tell.
Yes, it can actually be regulated.
For me, I feel it's the creative industry where you can't put a lead on how wide on creativity.
Yeah, now it's amusing. Yeah, movies are supposed to be a reflection of what is happening in society, but now society is now reflecting what is happening in movies. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, it's the other way around. So I think it can be regulated. There are bodies that regulate movies and censor movies going outside to the cinema.
Okay, we have. We can't sit here and talk about the industry without having someone who is an active player in that industry also weighing on the conversation. We have someone who I think she's perfect for this conversation we're having, especially because back in the days, it will be easy to say this is one of the people who actually started Nollywood because she's been there forever. I'm talking about none other than Gloria Anozie at the time, but now Gloria Young. She is joining the conversation. Good evening, Mama.
Good evening. How are you? Good evening, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us on the program this evening. We're glad to have you on board.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Okay. We have heard over and over, and there seems to be a trend nowadays of criminals saying they learned kidnapping from Nollywood, they learned ritual, engaging in ritual, acts and all that from Nollywood. What's your reaction to this? I'm sure these are stories that you probably have also heard.
I've heard that people are saying that all these rituals and the rest and Yahoo Plus and everything, people are getting it from Nollywood. Most of the stories that you get to watch on TV are actually stories that we've heard. People have done. These kind of things have happened. And Nollywood is, okay, let me not just say Nollywood. Drama is a reflection of life. It's a mirror of the society. And everything you see when you're watching a movie and all of that, you get to understand that these are things that happen. These are things that maybe one or two tiny things are the imagination of the writer. But most times, it is a reflection of what happens in the society. Now, for anyone to actually think that it is basically because these things are being shown on movies, and that's why a lot of the Yahoo Plus people are doing it. I think that is totally wrong. It is very, very wrong. Does it mean that all the movies that they show in America, everybody is doing the same thing? I thought we used to say in Nigeria, we love watching American movies. And we love, in fact, we prefer the American society to the Nigerian society. How come we're not going around carrying guns and everything? And when we see that most of the movies coming out from the American culture has a lot to do with guns and the rest. So I think anybody who is saying that is saying the wrong thing. That is not true.
Okay.
If you want to know where these things are coming from, we can find out and we can tell you. In fact, we all know where these things are coming from.
That sounds heavy. I'll come back to that in a minute. You said if we want to know where they're coming from, we can find out. We all know. I will come back to that in a minute. But earlier, my colleague here, Samson, said, and it's something that you also corroborated, you said drama is a reflection of life. But Samson earlier stated that despite the fact that we all agree that drama should be a reflection of life, what we have today is the movies, or rather life being a reflection of what we see in the movies.
No. And I said that's not true. That is definitely wrong. It's not possible. If they're actually watching the movie and they watch the movie from beginning to end, they always see what happens to the bad guy. Because most times it's good versus bad, isn't it? And the bad always suffers or dies at the end, and the good always... Something definitely happens to the bad person, isn't it? Something that always happens to people who, the antagonists. You get? So definitely it is not true that it is drama that is teaching these people what to do. No.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned earlier that in the US, that for US movie, for example, most US kids that engage in firearms, I think they see that also in violence movies from the US movie. So I think.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
He talked about you referencing the American movies, possibly the action movies, as it were, and how we don't see them carrying guns around. But he's trying to say that yes, we also see in the news that these people just carry guns around and carry on some kind of shootings. Mindless shootings at that.
Yeah.
And it's from what they see in movies.
In violence movies, yeah.
In violent movies.
I do not agree that it is what they see in movies. Because if they actually do watch the movies from beginning to end to see what happens, they will definitely not do it. We are teaching them what is wrong. We're teaching them...
Let me first of all say that I am a big fan. Okay, my question is, why has Nollywood not properly evolved yet? It's still the same old story that we've been seeing right from your time till this time. Still the same thing. They're not doing anything different.
Is that true? Is that actually what? How many movies do you watch? How much?
A lot. I'm a very big fan of Nollywood.
Definitely,
it's a lot.
It definitely, Nollywood has grown in leaps and bounds. Nollywood, when we started, this I think 9th year in Nollywood. Okay, so Nollywood when we started definitely wasn't like this. We were doing movies that had a lot to do with what was going on. For instance, the Benin girls, the young girls who were coming out of Benin and going into prostitution, the madams and all of that. Do you get to see that again? In fact, that was what we exposed that so much that even the Benin people themselves had to make sure that it stopped. We exposed what was happening there, and it stopped. You don't get to hear stories about those kinds of things again. If it does happen, it's probably very, very small. Nobody will allow their daughter to be taken over by a madam because the woman wants to take her to Italy or to wherever they want to help her to do one or two things. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, she's being pushed into prostitution. That was what was going on 29 years ago. That has stopped.
Okay.
So basically because Nollywood exposed it. Do you understand? Now, when we had issues about security boys in the East, for instance, I'm giving you just short examples, things that made a lot of noise then. We had Bakassi boys, remember? All the things that they were doing and how they went about it. It kind of made it look romantic. But at the end of the day, we were able to expose a lot of the issues going on there. What happened? That stopped. Now we have things like Amoteko and the rest. I don't know what's going on there. We haven't heard stories. We haven't had any issues. So nobody has brought any movies, any stories to, for them to act it out in. But for you to say that Nollywood is still the same, my dear, basically, I don't think you're watching. You are not watching.
Okay.
We can have this argument for years.
Yeah, I mean, I want us to go away from that.
Thank you, Mas. Should we have stringent restrictions in place, looking at the kind of story we tell, and what impact would this have on creativity?
Your own voice, for some reason, I can't seem to hear you well.
Okay, he's asking a question of...
I can hear crazy, I can hear crazy, but this...
Okay, should we have more stringent restrictions in place, looking into the kind of stories we tell, and what impact would the restrictions have on creativity?
I didn't hear you well. Sorry. Hello?
Okay.
Okay.
Hello? I didn't hear him.
Okay. I'm asking that in Nollywood, should we have more stringent restrictions in place, looking into the kind of stories we tell, and what impact would restrictions tell on creativity?
Restrictions. He said something about restrictions.
Yes. No. If we should have restrictions on the kind of stories that we tell.
Oh, don't we have restrictions?
Should we have restrictions in place? For instance, if we say, somebody has said they are learning kidnapping from movies, should we have somebody who...
we have restrictions as such, but we do have a censors board. Censors, in the sense, some people make a mistake and they say censors. It's not census the counting, it's censor as in censorship. Yes, definitely we have censorship. And a lot of movies that come out are classified. There's one for the general audience, there's one for a certain age, there's one that has parental guidance, there's one that tells you that you cannot allow children watch this. And just like almost every culture, all our movies are classified. Do you understand? So yes, there is. We do have that.
Okay, Mama, like you said earlier, we could go on and on, but we must thank you very much. Maybe just a word for the youth, as a parting shot for the young people. Just leave us with something.
I should give you what?
Just leave us with something. Maybe a word for the youth. I mean, and the need to change our attitude. Yes.
A word for the youth. Please do not believe everything you see happening on social media. Please, for goodness sake, do not believe that it is all rosy on social media. A lot of people have fake lives, and just for the camera, there's this saying we say it's just for the gram, that kind of thing. You go and you build up all kinds of stories to build your personality and put it up on your pages. And people, a lot of these young people get to look at it, they see it, and they believe that's how life is. Life is not like that. And truly, if you want to find out what is going on, go into Facebook. That is where there is no restriction. That is where there is no censorship. That is where it is on social media that a lot of these things happen. They should leave Nollywood alone. Not where that is concerned at all. It is social media that has turned everything upside down. No matter the amount of upbringing that a child is given, once a child is allowed and let loose on social media, especially Facebook, the child forgets his or her home training. And that is where a lot of our issues are coming from. So please, I pray the young ones are listening. Stay away from these things until you're mature enough to understand that life is not all rosy. Life is not a bed of roses. There are too many challenges in life. Go and build your own. Wait for your turn. Wait for your time. Do not be in a hurry to grow up. Enjoy your childhood now. Because once it gets to the time when you need to make money, you need to spend for yourself. Make sure that you have prepared yourself for it.
All right.
And I wish everyone the best.
Veteran Nollywood actress Gloria Young, thank you so much for joining us on We the 77. Hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right. So she said something about, the ritualists never go scot-free in this movie. So can we truly blame Nollywood for these outcomes?
Well, yes, this is my point. This is the point I've been trying to make from the beginning. You cannot say that you learned this bad habits from Nollywood when at the end of the day, they would always show you the consequences of their actions. They always show you that it doesn't end well. So you can't say, I watched How to Kidnap from Nollywood movies, when they will show you that, okay, but after kidnapping, you'll certainly be arrested or something terrible would happen to you. So what are you learning? The act or the consequences of the act? It doesn't make sense. You cannot say you learn from Nollywood.
That's why I said there are two sides in the movie. It depends on which each side to pick.
You decide to focus on, right?
There's a good side and there's a bad side. So it depends on you which one you want to pick.
My point, you are not blaming Nollywood for this. It is you that
it is the individual that is to be blamed.
So don't blame Nollywood.
Okay, if we have to find the likely causes for this upsurge, I know Gloria actually mentioned earlier that we can mention the sources if she is asked, but because of time, we just had to move on from that. But our own Ray Powers Tolani Adesanya had a chat with the spokesperson of the police in Ogun State, that's DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, on the upsurge of ritual killings and then the roles of parents. Let's have a listen to what the police boss had to say.
What is the rate of ritual killings for money presently in the country?
It's very difficult to say the rate. It's not that it is very, very rampant the way people are looking at it. But to us as police organization, killing is killing, regardless of the purpose. Case of ritual killing since the beginning of this year now, which is the one that has gone viral, this one that happened at Ukareba, including these 4 young boys, and few other ones like that.
From your investigation so far and interrogation of the suspect, what can you deduce as being responsible for ritual killings for money amongst you?
No, there's nothing that is responsible for it other than this get-rich-quick syndrome, especially